Prime Minister Narendra Modi has written a letter to his Pakistani counterpart Imran Khan extending greetings to people on Pakistan Day. Government sources say it's a routine practice. As COVID cases surge, government opens up vaccines for all above the age of 45. Average daily cases up by 68% in just a week. More than 5 crore COVID-19 vaccine doses have been administered across India so far. In Punjab, an SOS from the government, about 81% of 401 samples end up being the UK mutant strain, which is 70% more transmissible. There are now 400 new cases of foreign variants in just 5 days in India. Delhi records over 1,000 new cases for the first time since 19th of December. Does India really care about the COVID nightmare? Thousands attend a Mathura holy event. The UP government says no processions without permissions, and children under 10 and those above 60 cannot attend gatherings. In Patna, the police clashed with MLAs inside the assembly. A clash after protests over a police ordinance. A fresh face-off has erupted between the NIA and Maharashtra ATS over the transfer of the Mansukh Hiren death probe. The NIA informed court that the ATS was not handing over the probe. Union Minister Ravi Shankar Prasad hit out at the Maharashtra government over the same. 5 police personnel have been killed and 14 injured after Naxalites targeted a bus carrying 27 District Reserve Guard troops in Chhattisgarh's Narayanpur district. Well, here's some news coming in at this hour. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has written a letter to his Pakistani counterpart Imran Khan extending greetings to people of the country on the occasion of Pakistan Day. People familiar with the development have said that this is normal. Government sources say it's a routine letter sent every year. Well, I'm joined by my colleague Vishnu Som at this hour. Vishnu, there have been reports that of a peace deal being brokered between arch rivals India and Pakistan. How do you look at this development amid the reports?
Well, it's a normal development, this particular one. It's extended to Pakistan on Pakistan Day or before Pakistan Day on a regular basis is what our government sources have told us. So there's nothing extraordinary about the letter itself. But in terms of the content of the letter, there is this appeal for India and Pakistan to exist in an environment where there's no terror and, of course, accept the fact that there is a big crisis affecting both nations, which is COVID. As far as the larger question that you asked, it's a very important question. But at this stage, the details of this peace deal, as it were, between India and Pakistan are somewhat unclear. It's sketchy beyond the fact that India and Pakistan have stopped shelling each other on the line of control, which is a very big deal. But what this really results in, how this actually moves forward, nobody really knows. And I don't think one should necessarily link this letter with that proposal, the details of which are still very, very sketchy. It is nonetheless an important gesture coming as it is a couple of days after the Pakistani Prime Minister contracted COVID and the Indian government having wished him the best for his recovery as well a few days back. And therefore, these are positive signs, but whether this actually results in anything more fundamental or not, we do not know.
Right, Vishnu, these are very interesting developments coming at this hour. Well, we'll have to move on to some news from the spread of COVID-19 at a time when there are clear signs for a first time of a massive surge in the UK mutant strain of COVID-19 in Punjab. The government has come out with an announcement which many felt could not have come a day later. All citizens above the age of 45 will now get the COVID vaccine. Also, citizens can schedule their second doses from 1st of April, which will be administered 4 to 8 weeks after the first dose. India crosses a landmark milestone in COVID-19 vaccination. More than 5 crore vaccine doses have been administered so far.
So, from 1st of April, anybody who is over 45 age will get vaccination even though he has no comorbidities. उसके लिए उसे अब कोई दाखिला लाने की सर्टिफिकेट लाने की जरूरत नहीं है.
All those above 45 years old are now eligible for COVID vaccinations from the 1st of April. Chief ministers and corporate leaders have been pressing for this, given the rising second wave of infections and the sputtering economy.
आज निर्णय ये हुआ है, आपका सुझाव हमने सुना है.
सेफ तो महसूस हो गई, इतना ज़्यादा वर्ल्ड वाइज चल रहा है, ट्रैवलिंग की भी प्रॉब्लम्स आ रही हैं और अगर ये लग जाता है तो ट्रैवलिंग भी इजी हो जाएगी.
मेरे हिसाब से तो सबको वैक्सीनेशन लगनी चाहिए, तो हमारी बारी आएगी तो हम भी लेंगे. भले ही हम लोग ऑलरेडी अगर कोविड से हम लोग कर चुके हैं, निकल चुके हैं इस चीज़ से, बट जब टाइम आएगा हमें मिलेगा ऑफर तो हम करेंगे.
The move to open up vaccinations to those above 60 and some even younger, as well as letting more hospitals open vaccination centers, has resulted in a welcome spike in beneficiaries. In fact, more of the public have been vaccinated in 23 days than health and frontline workers in 65 days. But this may not be enough. Punjab's chief minister says 81% of 401 samples turned out to be the UK variant. The state has seen a massive surge in cases. Some experts say mutant strains are also likely to be behind Maharashtra's second wave. The state has been seeing a record number of cases. There are 795 total cases of UK, South Africa and Brazil variant in India. There have been 395 new cases in the last 5 days alone, out of which 326 are in Punjab.
So the basic characteristic of the UK variant, what we call as N501Y or B117, is that it spreads faster. So ever since it has emerged, people have found out that its R number is higher. That means it's actually spreading faster.
India ranks third globally in terms of total vaccinations. But in terms of vaccinations per 100 people, it is behind many countries like UAE, US, UK and Brazil. Today's decision is expected to boost India's vaccination pace. In New Delhi with camera person Ashwini Mehra, this is Sukirti Dwivedi for NDTV.
The daily COVID surge in Delhi has crossed 1,000 over the last 24 hours. 1,101 new cases have been reported. This is the highest daily number of cases since 19th of December. There are currently 4,411 active cases in the capital, which is the highest since 6th of January. Random testing of coronavirus will be held across Delhi's airports, railway stations and bus stations. The Delhi government declared today amid a surge in infections that's seen as the emergent second wave of the virus. A bar was also placed on the public celebration of the coming Holi, Shab-e-Barat and Navratra festivals. The government has also ordered stringent implementation of COVID SOPs in areas like markets, cinema halls, malls, metros and religious places. In Maharashtra, 28,699 new cases have been reported in the last 24 hours. 132 COVID-19 deaths have also been reported in the state on Tuesday. The case fatality rate in the state is 2.12%. Now let's have a look at Tamil Nadu. Single-day cases crossed the 1,000 mark for the fifth day. 1,437 test COVID positive in 24 hours in the pole-bound state. 532 test positive in Chennai alone. In Karnataka, reports of an upsurge in COVID-19 cases have been coming as the state added more than 2,000 cases in the last 24 hours with 2,010 new cases. There are nearly 16,000 active cases in the state now. Bengaluru recorded over 1,200 cases in the last 24 hours. Now, Telangana has decided to close all schools and colleges except medical colleges from Wednesday as a precautionary measure. Making the announcement in the State Assembly, Education Minister Sabita Indra Reddy said the decision was taken amid apprehensions that COVID numbers should not explode. She said online classes would resume for students.
ముందు జాగ్రత్త చర్యగా రాష్ట్ర వ్యాప్తంగా ఉన్న విద్యా సంస్థలన్నిటిని రేపటి నుండి తాత్కాలికంగా మూసివేయాలని ప్రభుత్వం నిర్ణయం తీసుకున్నది అధ్యక్ష. ఈ మూసివేత ఆదేశాలు వైద్య కళాశాలలు మినహాయించి రాష్ట్రంలోని అన్ని హాస్టళ్లు, గురుకుల విద్యాలయాలు, ప్రభుత్వ ప్రైవేట్ విద్యా సంస్థలన్నిటికీ వర్తిస్తాయి అధ్యక్ష.
Meanwhile, 163 people have tested positive in a college in Andhra Pradesh's East Godavari district. The health department has said the students have been quarantined and are being monitored. The area has been declared as a containment zone and necessary measures were put in place to check the spread of the contagion. Despite the surge in the mutant strain and the overall numbers, devotees continue to throng festivals with zero mask use. The big question, in fact, it's stating the obvious, these could all turn out to be super spreader events, the last thing anyone wants.
Two days, two massive holy gatherings in UP's Mathura with zero COVID protocols, no masks, no social distancing.
सबसे अच्छी बात क्या है, यहाँ पे कोई भेदभाव नहीं है। कोरोना की अगर बात करी जाए तो क्या आप लोगों को लगता है कोई कोरोना है? किशोरी जी यहाँ पर है, कोई कोरोना नहीं है।
तो मेरा ये मानना है, मेरा सभी लोगों से ये अनुरोध है कि अभी कोविड खत्म नहीं हुआ है, अभी कोविड किसी भी स्थिति में सेकेंड वेव आ सकती है कोविड की, और कोविड शुरू हो चुका है। तो जो भी लोग मथुरा में आएँ, श्रद्धालु जो भी आ रहे हैं, वो मास्क लगा के आएँ, भीड़ भाड़ वाले एरिया में ना घुसें।
Uttar Pradesh's daily COVID cases have risen fast in the last 10 days. From 167 fresh cases on March 12, a positivity rate of 0.18% to 542 new ones on March 22. A positivity rate of 0.40%. And with Holi just days away, the government is worried. This afternoon, Uttar Pradesh's Chief Secretary wrote to field officers over rising COVID cases. The letter said that no processions or gatherings would be allowed without prior permission. Those above 60 or below 10 years of age will not be allowed in gatherings, the government has said. The government has also ordered COVID tests for those coming to UP from surge states. But implementing this on the ground will be a big challenge. With Saurabh Gautam in Mathura, this is Alok Pandey, NDTV.
But this wasn't the only one. There were several events in the last few days where COVID norms have been flouted, especially in poll-bound states. Some of these are the crowd at Narendra Modi's rally in Tinsukia, Assam, Amit Shah's rally in Gosaba in West Bengal, Mamata Banerjee's rally, as you can see on your screen, in Medinipur in West Bengal, M.K. Stalin's rally in Vepanali in Tamil Nadu, crowd at Rahul Gandhi's rally in Kochi in Kerala. Now, a fresh face-off seems to have erupted between the Maharashtra ATS and the NIA over the Mansukh Hiren case. The NIA informed the court that the ATS was not handing over the murder probe, while MHA has issued suo motu order directing NIA to take over Mansukh Hiren's death case from Mumbai Police, citing Section 8 of the NIA Act. Maharashtra Police has not handed over case diary to NIA yet. Meanwhile, major reshuffle in Mumbai police ranks after a new police commissioner took over. 86 police personnel have been transferred. Meanwhile, after the Sachin Vaze episode, Devendra Fadnavis, the leader of the opposition, is targeting the Maharashtra government over what is described as malpractices and bribes in IPS transfers in the state. The Maharashtra government says Fadnavis is relying on a report full of false statements and illegal phone tapping in his attempt to destabilize and defame the Maharashtra government.
Devendra Fadnavis taking his battle against the Maharashtra government to Delhi.
इतने बड़े महाराष्ट्र ऐसे बड़े प्रदेश में आईपीएस और बड़े पुलिस पदाधिकारियों के ट्रांसफर पोस्टिंग में सीधा वसूली हो रही है. Extortion is being done.
Alleging foul play and bribes for transfers of senior police officials in the state. Fadnavis says the Chief Minister of Maharashtra did not act. Fadnavis met the Union Home Secretary demanding the centre's intervention and probe by a central agency. Fadnavis bases his claims on a report by the state's former head of intelligence Rashmi Shukla, who is now on central deputation. which says there are recorded conversations that point to malpractice.
6.3 GB का ये डेटा मेरे पास है कि जिसके अंदर ये सारे कॉल्स इंटरसेप्ट किए हुए हैं और ये एक पूरा रिपोर्ट इसका जो है, मतलब ये कवरिंग लेटर है और कवरिंग लेटर के साथ ये पूरे ट्रांसक्रिप्ट रिपोर्ट के साथ माननीय मुख्यमंत्री जी को भेजे गए और उसके बाद इसके ऊपर कार्रवाई होना दूर, कार्रवाई किस पर हुई? कार्रवाई हुई कमिश्नर इंटेलिजेंस पे।
The NCP hit back immediately, saying that 80% of the transfers that were mentioned by Shukla in her report did not happen and the officers did not get the postings she mentioned in that report.
Illegal phone tapping करने का काम वे करती थी, उसी के आधार पे निराधार रिपोर्ट उन्होंने तैयार की। लेकिन जब महाराष्ट्र में महाराष्ट्र विकास आघाड़ी की सरकार बन रही थी तो रश्मि शुक्ला इलीगली सारे नेताओं के फोन टैप कर रही थी।
चाहे कोई भी कुछ भी कहे, कुछ भी बोले, कोई भी आरोप करे, महाराष्ट्र की महाविकास आघाड़ी की सरकार का बाल भी बाका नहीं होगा।
Meanwhile, the Maharashtra Anti-Terror Squad claims it has cracked the Mansukh Hiren murder case and will be asking for the main suspect Sachin Waze's custody in spite of the case being handed over to the NIA.
The Maharashtra government has made it clear that it's not going to give in to the BJP and adds that Devendra Fadnavis, in his attempt to topple the government, is defaming the state. But this saga of allegations and counter-allegations is likely to continue for a while as both sides are digging in their heels. In Mumbai, with camera person Rajendra Dhalkar, Saurabh Gupta, NDTV.
With that, time for a very quick break on the show. More on the other side. Stay tuned. MLAs protested in Bihar Assembly against Bihar's Special Armed Police Bill 2021. They alleged that they were manhandled by the security personnel present in the assembly. Clashes broke out between protesting MLAs and the police. Injured MLAs were taken to the hospital. Tejasvi Yadav alleged that even the DM was involved in heckling the MLAs.
DM ने खुद विधायकों को, जो लोकतंत्र का मंदिर है, विधायकों को घसीट के जो पीटने का काम किया गया, बाहर निकालने का काम किया गया। आज का दिन जो है काला दिन के रूप में देश की जनता याद करेगी। भयावह नजारा था जब इस तरह का काम नीतीश कुमार जी के निर्देश पे किया जा रहा था। ये जो काला कानून लाया गया, जिस तरह से विधायकों को अपमानित करने का काम किया गया, हम लोग लड़ाई करेंगे, संघर्ष करेंगे, लेकिन आप लोग अपने बारे में सोचिए। अब ये दिन आ गया जब लोकतंत्र के मंदिर में ही पत्रकारों और विधायकों को पीटा जा रहा है, तो इस कानून के बाद सोचिए क्या होगा, आपके घर में उठा करके पीटेंगे।
At least 5 people have been killed after Naxalites targeted a bus carrying 27 District Reserve Guard troops in Chhattisgarh's Narayanpur district. The entire area has been cordoned off and a search operation is going. Meanwhile, Chhattisgarh Chief Minister has tweeted saying that this incident is the result of the frustration of the Naxalites. The operation of the security forces against the Naxalites will intensify. In Narayanpur, I strongly condemn the incident of Naxalites blowing up a bus filled with soldiers. The martyrdom of 4 DRG personnel, including a driver, in this tragic incident is very, very sad. Lights, camera, action, not just for actor politicians in Tamil Nadu, many of who are in the fray, but also politicians who seem to don many roles to please and win favor with votes. Uma Sudhir, in fact, gives you a sneak peek into this.
Actor or politician? In election times, the lines certainly blur. Actor-politician Kamal Haasan, a man of many roles, showcased his prowess at Silambatam, a traditional martial art in Coimbatore, from where he makes his election debut. Washing dirty linen in public, that is literally what the AIA-DMK candidate Tanga Kadiravan is doing as part of his campaign in Nagapatnam constituency. As cameras rolled all around, he reminded voters that the AIADMK would give Amma washing machines to each of them once elected to power. In Singanallur, AIADMK candidate K.R. Jairam tried his hand at selling vegetables. The play acting cuts across party lines. Prabhakar Raja, DMK candidate from Virgambakam, decided to try his hand at making crisp dosas. Much to the amusement of his supporters, who gave him tips on how to do the best job of it and captured the action on camera. DMK's Sampath Kumar, who is taking on Chief Minister Edappadi Palaniswamy in a David versus Goliath battle in Edappadi constituency, helped women roll BDs, hoping to be injurious to the CM's political health. Come election time, politicians turn actors to don their best face and mouth what they hope will be catchy dialogues. And there is healthy competition from actors turned politicians, from Ulaganayagan Kamal Hassan and his female lead in films like Michael Madana Kamarajan, BJP candidate Khushbu, to Udayanidhi Stalin, Seeman, Radhika and Sarath Kumar, DMDK's Vijaykanth, not directly in the fray but certainly in the political limelight. And as though to make up for the AIADMK lack of cine glamour, the trailer of Kangana Ranaut's Talaivi was released on Tuesday. This Tamil, Telugu, Hindi trilingual has Kangana playing Jayalalitha and Arvind Swamy in the role of MGR. The AIADMK would hope that the trailer, that is replete with several dramatic scenes from Jayalalitha's political rift with the DMK, will give it the firepower and momentum ahead of the April 6 election. Uma Sudhir, NDTV.
If you give an ounce to Tamil Nadu, it will give you back a pound.
That's all we could pack into this bulletin. Thank you very much for watching.